Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. This is Scott Ferguson. I got me a fellow Midwesterner base person here that was introduced to me by my really good friend Jason Holzer from 40 Athletes. Big shout out to 40 Athletes. They rock. But I got Ryan Schachtner here from A Must Win. Ryan is a former athlete who used their athletic skills to succeed after a career-ending injury. Now a best-selling author focusing on helping athletic departments and pro teams strengthen relationships with student athletes through financial literacy and maximizing post-athletic opportunity programs. A Must Win empowers athletes by simplifying the complex and awakening athletes to opportunities. And squad, he also wrote a fantastic book, which we'll get to towards the end of the show, which I will have a free book giveaway from Time to Shine Today. So Ryan, thank you for coming on. Please introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Blue, and I have no idea why.
But dude, I bet you there's a red fire in there somewhere, man, being a former athlete competing, brother, especially from the Midwest, because we're always kind of back shelved a little bit. No one believes in us because it's cold 9 months out of the year.
Exactly.
We can't play. So let's get to the origins, brother. Let's tell us a little bit about Ryan, and we got some rock star questions here ready for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, a baseball player that thought that I was gonna live my dream and go play in the major leagues, scouted from a really early age. I remember the Braves. This is back in the 90s when the Braves were the show. I mean, they were the deal. Had a scout, keep in touch with me all the way through high school, go to college, blow out my shoulder, and had to realize that, my dream was done. But I couldn't just sit there and let life happen to me. So I decided to, at that point, not being the best student, man, I gotta get after it. I gotta find an internship, got into the financial services, moved down to Charlotte, North Carolina, fast forward 22 years, independent financial planning firm, and multiple states, multiple advisors, really killing it. Probably one of the fastest growing in the Southeast. And then COVID hit, and that's when I, seized a new opportunity and created a Must Win. And man, it's been I've been living the dream ever since.
Where did a Must Win kind of come from?
Yeah, so I had met before COVID shut the world down, a basketball player from UNC Charlotte reached out. He wanted an internship, get into the business. Super sharp kid. Through our conversation, I've realized that they weren't getting any sort of financial literacy information. And, UNC Charlotte, it's not a Power 5, but it's not insignificant by any means. It's still a really large university. And I was surprised, right? And then that was still when name, image, and likeness was being talked about coming out.
Right.
It wasn't a done deal yet. And I'm like, man, these guys, they need something, right? So, it turned a presentation with the basketball team, turned into a book, which turned into a bestseller. And I think only because it launched, when name, image, and likeness went live in July, it launched like a week later. And so, it was really just a happy coincidence, I think, on that one. So
love that, man. So do you work one-on-one with clients, athletes, or just not regular, the people out there that help them manage their money?
So I do have my firm, but I wanted to separate from everybody else because as I was doing this book, I kept getting introduced to more and more professional athletes, and the stories, regardless of sport, were eerily similar. Right?
Okay.
They were super skeptical. The major leagues or the NFL, they have guys that come in and talk to them, but it's never about empowering the athlete with the knowledge. It's always about, hey, I'm better than that guy, and, this is why I'm better. And so, they said, when I told them about the concept of just being an educational platform where they could come, they could know that they're not going to be led the wrong way, they loved it. And my network then with athletes kept getting bigger and bigger. And so I really stick to that as I don't invest their money. I can audit some of their stuff and have a second look. I will do that, but that's as far as I go down that road, because again, I just want to be the education piece to what they're getting. If they have a question that, they know that they can come and they can trust the advice that we're going to give, because we have there's no skin in the game, right? They can go out and they can find their own people and that sort of thing. So
what's unique about your platform?
it's education only. Everybody else, really, there's very, very few people in this space. Which is probably why there's so many, problems that athletes run into. But, it's education only. Whereas everybody else that's in the space is, they're also trying to acquire the people they're talking to as clients. And
right.
We draw the line there. We want to be the education piece. We want to empower them to manage their own stuff.
Love that. I love that. So when you're meeting with somebody to start them through the education, maybe you're in the discovery process, what is your secret sauce, if you don't mind sharing a little bit of helping them find their blind spot?
Yeah. So I wasn't the best student. Average is probably an overstatement for
me too.
For what I was. Yeah. And I just realized that, man, we have to be able to speak a common language, and the common language, regardless of male, female, track athlete, football player, lacrosse, tennis, whatever it is, we all speak the same language. It's the language of sports. And so I relate everything, every topic we talk about, whether it's credit or taxes or budgeting.
Metaphorically, right?
Sports.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
To me, it's just really simple. That's just awesome. Yeah.
That's fantastic. So when these people come to you, these athletes, and they start coming to Ryan at a must win, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
So athletes have egos, right?
Absolutely. And so, they better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so, no, they don't. It's how can, they always ask me, what should I invest in?
Sure.
I don't know, right? Because there's so many factors.
What do you wish they would ask you?
Yeah, I just wish, how can we spread this word out? How can we make this more accessible to, to whether it's athletic departments, which we work a lot with, and even pro teams? How do we just blow this thing up so that athletes aren't taken advantage of anymore?
How's your relationship with agents?
I don't work with any agents.
Okay. You don't get any back. And the reason why I'm asking that, Ryan, is that, the agent makes them their money in a sense, right? I have some very powerful sports agents that are friends. They make them their money, but then you're having you educating them what to do with their money. So you've never had any blowback from agents. That's awesome, right?
I've never had any blowback because, again, I'm not recommending they put money in something specific, right?
Right.
If they want to do crypto, if they want to do real estate, if they want to do investments, start a business, it doesn't. There's people that make tons of money in all of those things, right? So it's more about the athlete understanding, hey, what are the risks? What are the rewards? Do I understand how I'm gonna make money and pull income out of this thing?
Got it.
And that's what I'm about, right?
Love it.
Then go out and find if you want to work with your agent, great. If you have a buddy that does something, perfect. Go work with them. I don't care. I just want you to be protected. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because there's the theory of relativity happens, and it happened to me when I started making money. It's like once you make money, everyone's your relative. Right. Everyone's coming there, going to give you that money, bro. Give it to me. And it happened to me, and I lost a lot from it. I lost some friends. That's okay. But luckily I had some advisors. I wish I would have known you, at the time as well, someone that could help me level up through that spot. So then if I'm out, at a networking event, which here in South Florida, they're all over the place, and press and flesh meeting people. And if, I kind of shut my mouth and I listen a lot, because something my mentor taught me. But what am I listening for to know if somebody is a good prospect or referral or a connection for a must win?
Yeah. So it's really, if they have played a sport at the collegiate level or somewhere in the professional ranks, and they can get us connected to that athletic department. Because, one of the unique things is we've come out with tons of video type content that doesn't actually cost the athletic department a dime, which coming off COVID. And, so we've figured out a way that, we can be profitable, but the athletic department this burden has been thrown on them because of name, image, and likeness. Now,
when nil happens, bro, it's going to be another world, bro.
Yeah.
That's going to be crazy.
Already crazy.
Yeah, you're right. It's already crazy. So what do you think then Ryan's strengths are?
Yeah, it's making and simplifying complex issues and making it relatable and understandable, but also giving them an easy way to implement. because it doesn't matter if you tell good stories, if there's not a simple way for them to implement what you're talking about, then it's irrelevant.
That's an awesome strength, brother. That is fantastic. So what's your limitations?
My mind. So,
Okay.
I think what's
right.
yeah,
dude.
right? What's held me back is that, I worried a lot about what people thought of me, right?
Yeah.
So if I were to do a talk, what is that person in the back row? What are they thinking of me? And so when I got to the point of, I don't care what they think.
Right.
Like, I'm never going to meet that person.
Ryan, you and I were like, I don't know, how old are you, brother, if you don't mind sharing?
42.
Okay, so I'm 49, so I'm a little bit older than you, but you and I must have been somewhere in this universe connected, because I make a resolution every year, New Year's. And one is to make someone smile every single day. And two, as long as I haven't hurt you, took from you, stole from you, anything, I give zero, what you think about me.
Yeah.
That's something that was a hard one to get over, because you're an athlete, brother. I was an athlete, and it's like you're trying to perform to the best of your ability because you have fans that freaking care, right?
Yeah.
And so, okay, dude, that's awesome that you said that, man. Appreciate you saying that. So, Ryan, have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's get in the DeLorean with Marty McFly. Okay, let's go back to the Double Deuce, the 22-year-old, 20 years ago, the 22-year-old Ryan Schachtner. What kind of knowledge nuggets, we call him here Time to Shine today, what kind of knowledge nuggets are you dropping on Ryan to maybe help him shorten his learning curve, level up, and blast through? Maybe just a little quicker.
Yeah, so, I think life is all about relationships. And, with starting in the financial services business, at first I thought it was about sales, right? And yes, it's about sales, but the more that I started to actually care and try and understand, and like you just said, listen to what people are saying, is the quicker that everything started to happen for me. So I would say, life is about relationships. Invest more in those, worry less about the results. And I wish I would have learned, don't care what people think, a lot sooner.
No, bro. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah. Unless it's a critical situation where, you're trying to sign Texas A&M or something, then you can't.
Right.
But other than that, you really just can't. So how does Ryan want his dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, man, your life date and death date. How do you want that dash remembered, Ryan?
Impact. And so, it's just how many people can I impact with the knowledge that I've gotten? How many lives can I change that I may not even know about, right? Some kid, might hear something I talk about and he'll teach that to his kid. And that kid might cure cancer.
Yeah.
Right. And I wouldn't have no knowledge of that, but it's the thought that because I'm giving, especially, talking to some of these athletes, the communities they come from, it's heartbreaking. Right. So if we can change some of that for some of these kids, and just with planting the seed that they could be something more than just an athlete, and they have the same potential as anybody else, it's impact. Let's Dude, do it.
You're planting trees that you're never going to sit in the shade of, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's freaking awesome. I love connecting with, people with you like you. So what then, Ryan, do you think people misunderstand about you the most?
That's great. And now I don't really care. Right. So that's the, I think they, when they see financial advisor, and I still have that company, and they see what I'm doing now,
the stigma.
It's a stigma. Absolutely. And it's, I've got some sort of hidden agenda that I'm trying to.
Right. I've been a real estate broker for 22 years, bro. So I feel you. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's the same thing. Right?
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. So what keeps Ryan up at night?
It's just making sure, honestly, it's got nothing to do with business. It has everything to do with, I've got 2 kids and a wife, and I want to make sure that I'm present for them. And when they look back, right, if I were to, kick the bucket tomorrow, when they look back and they say, hey, this is all the stuff he did. And I remember him being there and being a part of stuff, and not having, any regrets of, I wish I would have done this. Right.
Love it.
I think it's making sure that I'm making that sort of impact on my family.
Love that, brother. And let's take out of this equation of this question anything electronic, no computers, cell phones, anything like that. But what are 3 things that Ryan can't live without?
Oh man, you're a gym to work out for sure.
There you go.
A gym to work out. Nothing. Man, so much of our life is electronic nowadays.
Yeah.
So
we can throw family in there if you want. I'm just kidding, dude.
Well, yeah, I mean, family.
I
Absolutely.
usually say electronics and family out of the equation.
I assume that was taken out. I think the beach. I love being at the beach, and as bad as I am at it, golf.
Yeah, me too, brother. I stink, but I like to play. That's awesome, man. So, what is Ryan's definition of a life well lived?
It's just impact and leaving it all on the field, and not having a regret of, I wish I would have done something, knowing that, who knows what it would have turned into, right? I mean, average at best student wrote a book. I don't know how many books I actually read cover to cover in my life. I probably count on one hand, but I didn't let that hold me back, right?
Sure.
I still went forward and did it. So not having a regret of, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have done that.
I love that. You just get busy living or get busy dying. Well, my little, quote from the Schachtner Redemption, another top 5 movie of mine. That's without a doubt, bro. So, squad, we are going to take my good friend Ryan through our leveling up lightning round just as soon as we get back from thanking our sponsors and affiliates. Time to shine today, podcast varsity squad. This is Scott Ferguson. I got my boy from A Must Win, Ryan Schachtner. And Ryan, you and I could talk an hour easy on each one of these questions. You got 5 seconds with 0 explanations, and we will keep asking questions. All right. We will overtalk you. So first thing comes to your mind and let it stew. All right.
All right.
Here we go. Let's level up. What is the best leveling up advice Ryan's ever received?
Think bigger.
Yeah. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Routine. Wake up at 4:30, work out, family, focus on what I'm going to do, and then go to work. Self-care time, baby. I love that. So other than Foundation for Financial Excellence, if you see me walking down the street in my doldrums, like, Fergie, he's just not standing tall right now, man. What book are you handing me? Tim Grover, Relentless. Relentless, baby. There you go. Love it. Yeah. Your most commonly used emoji when you text? The face palm. Right. So don't lie to me on this one, Schachtner. If you could stay one age physically for the rest of your life, keep the knowledge you've gained, and continue to garner knowledge physically, what age would you stay for the rest of your life? 100%. Thank you. I say 28 to 32, brother. The creaks and cracks aren't there. Love it. Thank you for being honest. Nicknames growing up? Shocks. I was going to say that's what I called you. Chess or checkers? Checkers. I've never played chess. Me too. favorite charity and or organization you like to give your time or money to? Down Syndrome Association. Thank you for saying that, brother. Freaking thank you. Awesome. Best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s? You can expand on this one. Wow. Probably. I grew up with my dad in the car listening to, the 60s. So I would have to say it's got to be the 60s. Love it, man. Every one of those decades has something to give. I was born in 72, so it's like the 80s was kind of my jam. But like you, my dad, I was sitting there and you're listening to like Allman Brothers and, to Thin Lizzy and everything else. And you're like, man, it's awesome because my mom passed, but I keep the 70s music on when I'm actually editing podcasts. And it just keeps me in the groove of my mom's energy. You know what I'm saying? So like music can take you there, like sound and vibrations, everything. That's freaking awesome, man. So Ryan, how can we find you, brother? So I'm on Instagram's probably the easiest way, at amust.win. Love it. LinkedIn. I'm really active on LinkedIn. And those are probably the 2 easiest ways. Email Ryan@amustwin.com.
I love the post you put up with Hank Aaron, man. My motto was always to keep swinging, whether I was in a slump or feeling badly or having trouble off the field. The only thing to do was keep swinging. And like we live here at Time to Shine today with like inch by inch, it's a cinch. By the yard, it's hard. But during the inch by inch, bro, you got to keep swinging. I love that you put that up there. So let's talk about this best-selling book that is just a rock star. And with all due respect to you, I'm sorry I haven't gotten into it. I haven't read it yet, but I will read it. I promise you. And I'll do a whole review on it. But The Foundation for Financial Excellence, Lessons from the Pros, a game plan for the collegiate athlete. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So really this is, how do we simplify finance? And so again, it was supposed to be a presentation that turned into a book. Right. And throughout the process of, I didn't type any of it. I dictated all of it, right? Because I'd still be writing if I was typing it. And so it was meant to entertain and be simplify and be easy to implement. And so what I say about entertain is we talk about athletes that did stuff really good and athletes that did stuff maybe not so good, people that we grew up watching in all the different topics. So talking about credit, debt versus loans, budgeting, saving properly, how to prevent fraud, all those types of topics. And so we talk about people that did good, did bad. We relate everything to the language of sports so that regardless of whatever sport, it clicks. And then we give a really easy to implement game plan at the end of it. Do this now, and you're not going to have to worry about bad stuff happening. So through that process, I kept getting introduced to all these athletes. I just got an email from Gus Frerotte. Who would have thought, right? And so
quarterback the Detroit Lions at one time.
Yeah.
My team.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so then, I get introduced to these guys, Oklahoma Roy Williams.
Dallas he does the forward, brother.
Yeah, he did the forward. Anthony Tolliver, 15 years in the NBA, did
absolutely
a whole Tolliver take on the end of it, talking about his perspective on each topic from being a professional athlete for 15 years. Aurelius Ben down with the Jaguars, owns his own business now. He's retired, but he's been really instrumental in just adding, input and advice and making connections. And it's really limitless. Marcus Ogden's been really big in making introductions.
Good buddy of mine.
They all share the same. They grew up different parts, right? They come from different scenarios, but they all share the same story about, and we all do, about being an athlete, being in the system, and not getting really the tools that we need.
I love it. I have to make an introduction to Jed Collins. I know Jed. Yeah, Jed. Okay, good dude. He was on my podcast a long time ago. Great guy as well. That's fantastic, man. And squad, we just basically got a free masterclass, if you will, from somebody that is working with some of the highest paid people that walk and breathe air on this planet, and really educating them on a platform to help them guide through their careers. They speak the common language of sport. And my boy Ryan has actually walked that walk, and he's talking that talk, and he's making it happen for the people, and he's growing at an exponential pace. And this needs, especially with the nil that's going on out there, this really needs to be brought to the forefront, because these kids, your brain doesn't stop developing really until you're 25. So it's mush. These kids have got to learn this, in no better place than my buddy here, Ryan, at a must win. He makes complex issues, simplifies them for them to understand, implement, and take action on. And that's exactly what these athletes need, is simple. They're already going through complex shit by their coaches telling them how to run routes, everything else, showing up at this time, that time. But if they can simplify something as magnitudinal, that's my new word for today, as money, then that's huge. Because again, like I joke, and it was talked to me when I was younger, the theory of relativity is when you make money, everyone becomes your relative. Everybody has their hands out. And Ryan is somebody that can help you and guide you and educate you on how to do that. And he's backed by some ballers. Roy Williams wrote the freaking forward to this book. And, Roy Williams won a national championship at Kansas and North Carolina. He was a bench coach for some of the best coaches ever. He's somebody that I would definitely listen to. When someone like that takes the time to write for my boy Ryan, the forward, You must read this book. You know, he's somebody that will be remembered as sliding across home plate, bumped, bruised, battered, but he impacted people. He's planting trees that he will never sit in the shade in because he's a freaking go-giver, guys. And that's what we're all about here at Time to Shine today. You know, he's someone that definitely leaves it all out in the field, man. Ryan, you've earned your varsity letter here at Time to Shine today, so you can add that to the collection. You level up your health, you level up your wealth, man. You're humble, yet you're hungry. I can't wait to collaborate you on something in the future, brother. We're going to get you on stages here in Florida with my connections, and definitely going to get you speaking. I love your guts, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Love it. Appreciate the opportunity.
You bet. Chat soon.